Now, if you're like me and you have a vehicle that you're going to be parking for the winter, or you have two vehicles that you're going to be parking over winter, there's a couple things you want to do to ensure that your bad mamma jamma mode of transportation starts back up the exact way you left it. The very first thing I like to take care of is the fuel system, so I'm going to be putting the stable inside of my gas tank. And before I actually put that stable inside the fuel tank, I like to ensure I have a full tank of gas. Now, what that does is it fills your tank the entire way to the top. In order to corrode metal, you need air. And if you don't have any space for air inside that fuel tank because it's full of gas, you're good to go. It's not going to corrode and it's not going to actually damage your fuel tank. Now, if you have a plastic fuel tank, that's not an issue, but I have a metal fuel tank on this vehicle, so I'm going to go ahead and fill it to the top. Now that we have a full tank of gas, we're ready to put the stable into the vehicle. And if we read the usage directions in the back here, we can see that 1 ounce of stable treats up to 2.5 gallons of fuel. Now, the Mountaineer has a 21-gallon fuel tank, so that means we're going to be using 8.4 ounces. So I'm just going to be putting 8.5 ounces into my vehicle. Now, a quick note with this stuff, it does have a shelf life of 2 years. So when I open up the container, I just mark on the side of it when it expires. I just mark it out 2 years from the date I purchased it. That way I know that this stuff's still good. Now, looking at our bottle here, we got our fuel markings. It's hard to see right now, but you got a quarter, half, 3/4, and then 1 at the very top here. And they got these nifty bottles. All you do is squeeze the bottle. You can see that stable actually going into that little cup at the top, so I'm going to fill that up to the 1 ounce line, and then it's as simple as dumping it into the fuel tank. And like I said, I have to do this 8.5 times, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that done real quick. And just in case you don't know, Stable is a fuel additive that keeps your fuel fresh for up to 24 months. Fuel does expire and it does go bad. It will gum up your engine, it'll gum up your injectors, and that is not something you want. So if you're gonna be storing your vehicle, you definitely wanna use that stuff. Now that it's in the fuel tank, we want it in the complete fuel system. So we're gonna go ahead and take the Mountaineer out for a drive. Now what that's gonna do is mix up all that fuel in the fuel tank. It's gonna actually run it through the engine and all the injectors, and that way we have fresh fuel from the back to the front of the vehicle, and then we can go ahead and park it. I'm back after taking this thing out for a little drive. Now I can ensure that that fuel is completely treated all throughout this engine. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Now the second thing I like to take care of before I actually store this vehicle is the battery system. And everything I use in this video I will be throwing down in the description. That way if you want to purchase it for yourself, you can find the links to it extremely easily. Now in order to maintain this battery, I like to use these battery tenders. This is the Battery Tender Plus. Now I have nothing but great things to say about these things. The old battery that was in this vehicle lasted for 14 years and I was maintaining it the exact same way I'm telling you about now. So I'm going to keep on doing that, and I'm hoping to get the exact same years out of this battery as I did that old one, because that is absolutely incredible. Batteries just don't last that long. Now batteries absolutely hate winter. So what this battery tender is going to do is it's going to charge up this battery all the way to full, and then it's just going to trickle charge it. That way it maintains the proper voltage the battery needs throughout the entire time it's on. Now using these battery tenders cannot be any simpler. You have your clips, one for the positive, one for the negative end of your battery, and then you have the actual power plug. Now what I like to do is take the positive end and hook it up to the battery first, and then I'll take the negative end and hook it up to the negative terminal, and then you simply just have to plug it in. So now that we got this thing plugged in, you can see that that red light just means that the battery is charging. So once the battery gets to greater than 80%, it's going to switch over to a flashing green light. And then once the battery is fully charged, it's going to turn into a steady green light, and that just means that it's maintaining that voltage. And that's it, guys. So I only take care of the fuel and the battery when I park my vehicles. There's a lot of other things you can do, but I don't really find them necessary. So if you guys gained anything from this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.